All right, I am so excited to share and introduce my friends and clients here, Kenny and Mike, who moved to Puerto Vallarta. Well, they moved to Nuevo technically, and they've been here now almost 2 months, and they're here to share their story about moving here and all that good stuff. So thank you both for being here.
You're
Gladly.
welcome.
So, Mike, let's start with you. Why did you guys decide to relocate when you're talking about it? What was kind of your decision making around moving to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, we had a hurricane destroy our house last year, and so we kind of lost, a good 90% of everything. So
Mm.
when you do things like that, when you have a situation like that, making a bigger move doesn't seem so far off and so far-fetched. The political climate in the United States has not been favorable. So it was kind of like looking for asylum or someplace that could possibly be better. I've traveled to Mexico for both pleasure and work. The reason Puerto Vallarta is because, and I will be, glad to admit it, it is very expat friendly. Oh, like both our neighbors are from the United States. Not that that is a problem, but to get your feet wet, it's very nice to be surrounded and familiar with certain things that make this transition a little bit easier.
Absolutely, yeah. And Kenny, for you, having now both of you living here in Puerto Vallarta, how has it felt? You moved with your dog.
Yep.
How
There's
has it
Cooper.
been, for both of you as a couple and your fur baby living in Puerto Vallarta?
You know, I will say this aspect of it. It has been fantastic. Um, it's beautiful here. The people are so friendly and so nice and so very patient. But I want anyone watching this to understand there are going to be struggles with it. It's a different world. It really is. And you get used to a lifestyle in America where it's fast paced. Um, Things move at a warp speed, I guess. And coming down here, it is much slower. People, Americans especially have this tendency to be get it done, go, go, go. Here, it moves at a little bit of a slower pace, and so you're going to have to be very patient. Um, the rules are a little bit different. Shasta, as you know, I got in trouble for walking Cooper in the HOA because he was going to the bathroom in the landscaping, and that in America is normal, and down here it is not. But just little things. If you work from down here, be prepared because we went without internet for 6 days and we had to use our phones as hotspots. And of course, in America, you would call Spectrum and they would be out the same day. Here, it took them multiple days to get out. And so it'll test your patience, but the food is exceptional. My God, the food is fresh. It's not full of chemicals and preservatives like home. Um, again, the people are patient. It really is a beautiful, wonderful place to live, but be prepared to have some challenges and struggles.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we are still in a different culture, we're in a different country. I think you guys have gone through, I always say to people, it's sort of like that first at least month of some serious adjustment, and you guys have done beautifully, and I think what you said too, like there's a balance, right? There's like this amazing culture and amazing people and amazing food. However, the values around expediency, right? Is not the same. And I know I had the same struggle when I first moved here too. I was like, what do you mean it's going to take a month for a dryer technician to come and fix my dryer?
Right.
So for sure. Mike, was there anything for you that was a surprise moving to Puerto Vallarta?
I kind of knew and I kind of expected things to be not resolutions to not be as quick as they may have been in the United States. And that's kind of, I don't know, refreshing somewhat to take, there's a little more patience. Like also when you're out to dinner, when you're out anywhere, like in the United States or something, they're going to try to rush you. Here, it's like they want you to enjoy the moment and enjoy your company. So you may be stuck for an hour or two waiting for someone to come back to your table to give you your check. But it's just that it's a lot slower pace than I was ready for. The
Yeah,
work issue, but then it's work. So, you have to deal with it.
right. So, you had mentioned like obviously the political climate in the US, the major rise of, in my,
Fascism.
yeah, like just insanity and bigotry. And, you're one of many, many LGBTQ couples that have helped move to this area. As a gay couple, have you experienced anything in this area that felt like bigotry or?
Not at all. Not at all. I've not seen any, like, I will have to say, everyone seems, and it's not seem, I think it's genuine. They're genuinely nice people. There's just genuine compassion. I mean, I bike ride to Bucerias almost every weekend, and my water bottle will fly off of my bike when I get to those roads. And people will stop me and hand me my water bottle, will chase my water bottle down for me. This is not one time, it's almost every time. I'm sure they say, oh, here comes the gringo on the bike for his water bottle. But it's so nice that you're not used to that. You're almost shocked that people are that kind, and they're not doing it for any benefit for themselves, which is that's what we're basically taught in the United States. Something has to give. There has to be a reward or a payment or something for any kind of altruism.
It's almost Americans in general, in my opinion, a lot of people lack empathy. And here it's a very different mindset. My Spanish is, I'm working on it. I'm learning, but like this morning I went to Starbucks to order my coffee. And my first comment to the person on the speaker was, "Mi español is terrible." And then I placed my order and she sort of giggled because she spoke English. But, I ordered in Spanish, down to my leche estera, everything. And then I got up to the window in English. She told me I did pretty good. So, it's things like that where when you put in the effort, even though it's bad, people at least they appreciate it. And people just, it's a kindness. It's a general kindness that so many Americans lack these days.
Yeah, yeah, it is. They are very, patient in terms of Spanish for sure. And people ask me all the time, oh my gosh, I'm not fluent in Spanish or I only know a few words. And I say, even if you have por favor, buenos dias, gracias in your repertoire, it just shows that you really are trying to adapt and be a part of the community and culture versus trying to Americanize it or worse. So I think that's great. I mean, it is a learning for sure, and I'm with you, brother. I'm learning more and more Spanish all the time too. So you guys also, you use two of our services, which we're grateful for, and I'd love to hear your feedback. I have a new little kitten, everybody.
Oh,
Oh,
Now,
how
boy or
cute.
girl?
girl,
What's her name?
Angelica,
Oh,
Oh,
angel.
how, how
Even though
cute.
she's not an angel. But anyways, you used our soft landing rental service, and we helped you find a great property. Actually, I know you said you went out with internet, and it does happen, folks, every so often here. So as Kenny said, you do have to be patient. But tell me, why did you decide to engage my help in terms of finding a rental versus just searching Facebook or trying to figure it out yourself?
What was interesting is my best friend from college, whom I've known forever since we were 17, she and I had talked about we were moving, and she found one of your online courses. And so, you were offering what to expect, these different things. And so we joined and watched that initial session. And then we signed up for the private one-on-one session with you. Um, my history and everything, as you know, that I do with work is property management, apartment rentals, etc. And so I understand there can be a lot of scams.
Mhm.
And, it's no different here, especially when you're looking at the Facebook groups and different things. And when we initially connected in that one-on-one, I just felt an instant connection and trust with you. And as many times as you can visit, it's difficult. It doesn't matter because visiting for a week or two does not give you the true lay of the land of what you're going to experience. So we wanted to leverage somebody who could hear what we were looking for, what we wanted, what was important to us, and who could sort of help narrow it down. And you did just that. And I'm thankful that we did because it made this whole process much easier and it made me confident in what we were doing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your trust. Absolutely. And you also engaged us for the Safe Passage service, where my husband Ian actually drove both of you, your baby, your fur baby, and your vehicle from, the start of Mexico, basically all the way to Puerto Vallarta. Mike, for you, why was it something that you were considering versus again just trying to wing it yourself or try to, you know, use the Facebook pundits?
Yeah, well, the safe passage, Ian did an excellent job. It was just so, um, I mean, moving to another country, driving through places, and of course, I can honestly say I have yet to see a cartel. What you're told in America about how crime-ridden Mexico is, and we went through some places, but it was just first of all, it's a lie. But second of all, I just felt confident, much better to have somebody else drive the vehicle so I could actually like look around and see and look at things. But it also, he knew the roads to take, so we didn't have to sit and plan. This was tried and true, and he had just done it earlier in that week. And this is the same route he's been using, I think, since the program started, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So having that experience and where to stop, even to the gas stations and even like the taco trucks at the gas station, which were phenomenal, but the right gas stations to stop at, and all these things. It just made it really, really easy. I got a lot of great video, and it was, I mean, it's a moving to another country is quite, burdensome and scary at times, and then trying to import your vehicle. And I have like a camper van kind of situation, which when I went to import it, I didn't get a normal vehicle permit. I got a 10-year permit for like $50. So that wound up being great. And I don't know how I negotiated that. But Ian tells you where to go, what to do, when to do it. And it just worked. It wasn't like you were being told like a child, like you got to do this and this, but it just made it so easy. And it took a lot of stress off of something that could have been a lot more stressful, especially since we had possibly, or I had preconceived notions about, how Mexico really is. I've only been to places for either work, where I was escorted from the airport, or for pleasure, where you're the same way, escorted from the airport to the resorts. So it just, so that there wasn't that nervousness. And it was like, to me, almost worth the cost just to be able to film and video. And we were locked out for because we went the weekend of an election. So the traffic, I mean, what we learned, because I do want to bring my van back to the United States and we most likely will go the same route we came. However, as Ian said, there was an election. So a lot of places were closed. There wasn't a lot of work going on in the streets and stuff like that because in Mexico, they want people to stay, say out of work and make sure that they vote. It wasn't obviously like a national election; it was more regional based and state basis, from what I assume. But I also thought it was real funny because I met your husband, I met Ian for a drink, and the bar was not serving alcohol because politicians to come in and buy people drinks so that they will render their votes. So I thought that was quite funny.
You got a little taste of real Mexico.
Yep. But I mean, I don't know if I was to return and do that unless I did it on a vacation day or the voting day, if
Right.
that would happen the same. I'm sure when I go back, it will be busy, more crowded, but the roads were almost at times completely empty, which made it even. I mean, I think it's a combination of both. So I'm, not going to say it was the best. I think that day and having it be like that, you just thought it was like amazing.
And Kenny, I know for you, you had some worries and a little bit of anxiety ahead of time, which is totally normal. Um, tell me, how did Ian help you prepare to move and to pack up and to get ready to drive into Mexico and then for him to take over?
Uh, Mike's just a little bit more laid back about things, where I'm a little bit more meticulous. Um, I have to have things in order, every I dotted, every T crossed. Because if I don't, then if you're not prepared for everything, then problems are caused. So Ian, God love him, and you both were very patient with me. Um,
I
Ian
second that.
Yeah, Ian sat down and had this beautiful call with us, and I had written multiple pages of notes, and I left them on my desk. And our cleaner that does our offices at work threw them away somehow. So of course, here I am in this panic. But it was nerve-wracking because you're driving across the border for the first time, and here we have this nice big Sprinter van that's full, and it's like, oh God, what are they going to do? Is there something in this van that's going to get us arrested? The whole thing. And Ian was just perfect in preparing us for everything. And again, I can sit down and say I have anxiety and I get a little neurotic and stressed. And so Ian was really patient with me. Um, Ian was especially patient with Cooper, because Cooper had to, whomever was in the passenger seat, Cooper had to lay across that person. But if I got in the back, Cooper would go back and forth, and it was very challenging. And Ian just laughed it off. And, we had a great time. The conversation was fun the whole way. We laughed, we listened to music. It was
Canadian
just,
metal. We listened
yeah.
to Canadian music. I had to give Ian all my favorite Canadian bands.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was awesome. And I will tell you, it did, having you guys both help us gave us a tremendous peace of mind, and it really helped me relax through the process.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so delighted to have met you both. I'm so glad that you're both my neighbors, my friends. I'm grateful for your time today. Last words from both of you. If someone was considering moving to Puerto Vallarta, what's a word that you would drop into their awareness?
For me, it would just have to be patient, be prepared, but be patient. It is, life down here is much slower, and you're going to have to roll with the punches.
Awesome. Mike,
That
last
was
words?
Um, I mean, I second the patience, but it literally is every day is something new and beautiful that I see, and it's just that it's exciting. So it's worth having to slow yourself down, and it's probably better for my health. I can honestly tell you that I've had to cut my blood pressure medicine down since moving.
Oh, amazing.
So it's a different way to live, and it's just much more healthy for the heart and the soul.
Aw, beautiful words.
Yep.
Well, thank you both.